Hey, what's up, Scott Balcom here, and this is the walkthrough for my adventure van. Come on. This is our 2016 Sprinter long wheelbase, non-extended high roof van, and it's got the 4-cylinder diesel in it, which is really hard to come by. Most people have the big 6-cylinder, but the 4-cylinder provides you with a little extra fuel economy. Now, even this thing fully loaded out, when I was on my 5-week adventure all the way up to Canada, I was getting 20.5 miles per gallon, which is pretty amazing considering all the stuff that's on here and this vehicle being fully loaded. So that 4-cylinder is really nice, but it does lack the power, so just keep that in mind. So on the front, I wanted to get a brush guard, and this is for several reasons. Number one, the front end of a Mercedes is quite expensive, so putting this on here helps with pushing away brush and debris that's in the way. It also will help if you hit any kind of wild animals along the way. Fortunately, that's a reality. I put these super powerful off-road lights on the front up here, and then we have a light bar across the top that works quite well. The two combined, plus these lights, you are prepared for any off-road situation. These are not legal for on-road, so you shouldn't use them that way. Also, I did put a set of oversized tires on here, and these are BFG KO2s. These are amazing tires, keep you from getting stuck. This is the largest size you can put on, which is a 265/75 R16. And yeah, these things have really saved my rear end several times, except for once, but that had nothing to do with the tires. That had 100% to do with being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But yeah, I recommend these, and they really don't hurt your fuel economy hardly at all. One of the first things that I did was I put up these lights up top. So I've got these off-road driving lights. I have two in the back. I have one on either side. This one is pointed down and to the front. And then I also installed an awning on the side. It's a manual awning. There's a lot of power ones out there, but you know, the budget was really tight, so I didn't want to do that. So we just did with the ARB awning, and it works great. One of the important things for us with our build was we're filmmakers, so we needed a garage that had a ton of space for gear and not just filled up with a bunch of stuff. So we built this so that we had this giant garage. Let's take a look. The first thing you notice down here is all the space that's inside here. We have a full-size queen mattress up top, and we have a huge garage down below. One of the things that we did back here was we needed power to recharge all of our batteries, to work with our laptops, to edit, to do all the kind of things that we need to do as filmmakers, and we needed a power source that could do it. So I have a box here, and there's a box right here. Both of these have a 250 watt-hour lead-acid sealed AGM battery, and that provides us 500 amp hours of power for our inverter, which is up there. It's just a 1,000 watt inverter. And I did a whole walkthrough on my electrical system before, but we'll do a quick run through here. These are the levelers. These also help you to get out if you're stuck. I have a set of cones just for safety and an extension cord. We'll get into that one in just a little bit. There is a collapsible ladder right here. It's stored just underneath the bed. And then we have a basic mat for the ground, and then chairs, and then tools. And then these bins right here are for parts that, you're gonna have things that break, unfortunately, in the world of vans, and you need to have spare parts. So That's all the spare parts for the electrical and all of the wiring and such in here. Let's take a closer look. Yeah, this is a tight quarters for a giant guy like myself, but it has a lot of room for gear, and that is what is important. Batteries come into a cutoff switch. You need a main cutoff switch first, then we go into distribution blocks, both for the ground and for the positive, and those go off into the various functions. One of them be an inverter over here. It's 1,000 watt Renogy. This is a Sterling battery to battery charger. So what this is for, the sprinters have a tendency to throw all kinds of warnings if you pull too much power from the alternator. This allows me to dial in exactly the amount of amperage that I can pull from the battery instead of the alternator to charge this while I'm driving down the road. And that keeps me under that limit so I don't throw codes. This thing is invaluable if you're a Sprinter owner. And this right here is a Renogy 40 amp multi-point tracking charge controller. And this is really good, especially when you have cloudy days and such. It keeps the power level going to the batteries as high as possible for optimal charging based upon conditions. So that really comes in handy. And then you have to fuse everything. I have fuses on the batteries themselves. I have fuses after every single thing. They go into distribution blocks, and even those are fused just for protection because you don't want any kind of problems with power. And then to tie these two batteries together, I have these two giant, these are I think 2-aught or 4-aught cables that go up and over and tie in over here on this side. That keeps everything. This is a 500 amp hour, 12 volt system. And then you never want to discharge more than 50% with AGM batteries or you'll start to destroy your batteries. So 250 amp hours is what we have to work with, and we've never had a problem. Now back here we have a full size memory foam queen mattress, and it's extra thick. And we absolutely love this mattress. We have the same one in our house, and so we decided to put the same one in the van. And I'll put a link to that one down below if you're interested. It's super cheap, and you can get it on Amazon. Up here, we just did simple cloth covering over plywood. The van is not 100% done. It never is. I mean, it's got some fit and finish to be done elsewhere, but you know, for the most part, we can use this as much as we need. We've got it covered up here just to give it that nice look. We've got white painted panels on the side. And then over here, and we'll go through the rest of the interior on the inside. So let's go inside and take a look at all of the things that we've done. First off, we went with a kitchen that's right here, and we did that for a couple of reasons. One of them was so we could have access to the water. We have cabinets here, so we have fresh water here and wastewater here, and you could just pull them straight out of the van. Makes life much easier for changing out your water. We also have a nice little soap dispenser right here as well. This Velcro right here is for mosquito netting that we put up, and it keeps all the bugs out, and it's super cheap on Amazon. I'll put a link to that down below as well. And that goes across the whole thing, and it's magnetic. You can just pop right on in. One of the first things that we added was a swivel seat for the passenger seat. And that is so that you can really open this place up, give yourself another level of seating. You can kind of separate yourself away. It also gives you a really nice place to work. Now, you of course shouldn't drive down the road with this in this position. That would be against the law, but it's an option. We've installed these table mounts on the floor here so that we can have a table. Now, they're not the most ideal situation for a van because they're sticking up and you could trip over them, but that keeps you from having to drill a hole into the floor, and you know, it makes it for a cleaner install in the long run. We actually have 2 tables and 2 posts that we keep. It depends on where we're going or for how long, whether or not we travel with both of them or not. But we store them, one of them under here. So you just have your table leg right here, and your table comes out like so. And you can mount this just like this. And now you have a solid table for here. The other table is a larger table, and we actually store it locked in place right here. And the reason we don't travel with both of them is that it is a little bit bigger, and so it sticks out a little bit, so it gets in the way. But the advantage here is now you could work from this seat as well and have a table. For those really cold nights, what we did is installed one of those diesel-fired heaters. And I'll put a link down to it in the description below, but this is really invaluable if you travel in cold temperatures. We've been down to well below freezing, and it kept it nice and toasty at 70 degrees in here with using about a half a gallon of fuel. And it comes right off of the actual Sprinter fuel tank, so that's really nice. A twofold approach to saving that heat and also privacy is we needed a way to block this off. So we are using these privacy curtains that we just got from Walmart, and they're gray on one side, so everybody out there just sees plain gray. On the inside, they're just nice and white or kind of a beige color, and they are blackout, so they don't actually allow any light to come through. My wife has sewn in some magnets on either side, and they just clip to each other, and you actually get a really nice sealed off cab, and that saves all your heat. It saves all your privacy. So when you're pulling into that Walmart or any other place that you just need to do a little stealth camping, no problem. We've also built this nice seating all across here. Now the seating is just custom made. It's just foam with cloth over it. My wife made these nice pillows that actually provide a little accent. Somebody said they look exactly like pillows from Target, but we made these. So under here is where we store most of our shoes and any kind, we call it our mudroom. Just looking in here, you can see, I mean, I've got a little tiny folding chair. I've got, what is a hammock, that mosquito netting. We store our boots and our shoes, umbrella, the all-important fly swatter. Don't leave home without one. We put our trash bags in here. Also, it's a great place to store like the water, that kind of stuff. You want to keep in mind that when you're packing your van, if you load everything up in the back, it's going to squat down, and you don't want that. So putting heavy stuff up front will actually help distribute all the weight and make it ride a lot better. We also have our fire extinguisher in here, paper plates, that kind of stuff. And it's a huge well. Right in front of here is just actually a subwoofer because you need some really good tunes while you're on the road. Just folds. Continuing on down the couch, this right here is our pantry. And it's again, just another sealed off box. And in here, I mean, you can store cases of water. We have bags and bags of freeze-dried meal. Also, we can put just all of our canned goods, everything inside of here. And then the toilet being right here is super easy, super efficient to use, and you know, it's a toilet. You just got to do your business sometimes. But it is sealed off from everything else in here. Up here we have just a simple countertop from the Home Depot. This is just a bar sink. We do have running water with a pump. It's turned on up here. This is a little soap dispenser. This is just a cooking area that my wife had requested that she have a little bit of space for cutting. And this is also a sunken 2-burner propane stove. It works wonderfully. It's got a glass top and then a little more space in here as well. And this tends to rattle as you drive down the road. It sounds like that, so we just put a towel underneath the glass. Over here, we use these push locks for everything. This is access to our water from the inside. So if we are in like a cold climate and we don't want to go outside to swap out the water, we can just grab a jug from underneath and replace it right here. Up top, these are drawers. This contains all of our silverware. These are soft closed doors. Everyone has tried every possible combination of door to try to keep them from, when you turn a corner, they open up. You'd think that these soft close are really hard. They open right up. You gotta have the locks. There's no way around it. But you get the locks, and this has just kind of our utility drawer. We keep pans, dice, playing cards, measuring cup, lighters, all that kind of stuff. Trash bags are all in here, koozies, all that good stuff. Under here, this is just a simple door. You can access the propane, but it also has all of our pots and pans under there as well. And those are all situated so that they won't rattle. Over here, we use these latches on these big drawers because they really do help. This is our big drawer. It has our plates in it. So we can eat and do all that wonderful stuff. It's also got flashlights, jerky towels, cups, you name it, change, oatmeal. There's all kinds of stuff in here. There's even some air freshener because Hawaiian Islands. You just close it and a quick latch. Right here is our refrigerator. Use the latches here. and you pull it out. I'm gonna have to rework these drawers a little bit because they do stick a little bit. If I ever redo anything, it'll be these drawers, but if the drawer slides are heavy duty. This is our refrigerator. It's a Dometic. It's like the 42 quart, but it's so far been everything that we need for weeks. And you get nice cold water. It stays running 24/7. I've had this thing in here for a year, and it's been running off the solar, and I've never drained the battery. It's never even come close. In fact, it pulls so little power that you wouldn't need but a 100-watt solar panel up there on cloudy days to keep it going. It is quite amazing. But it just slides on in and then latches. And because we needed access to our camera gear and such while we're traveling, we didn't want to have to go outside to go get it. So I wanted to have full access to the back there. And you can get down and climb, but we usually keep most of our gear right here. Now, since this is a Sprinter crew van, it actually came with windows, but you don't always want those windows. What we have is magnetic insulated panels that have just little magnets in here, and they're quilted, they look nice, and they allow us to just block out that sun, privacy, also keep that heat in, or block the heat from coming in from the outside. Over here we have overhead cabinets that we use to store just kind of like our backpacks, some of our clothing, but not much. Usually we have like backpacks and maps and such in here. And then over here we may have bug spray, just candles, lights, any kind of accessory that we would need access to while we're traveling is up here. Up here we have the Coleman Slimline air conditioners. This is a 13,500 BTU. You could probably get away with a 9,500. People are saying you couldn't. I think you could. This is a 13.5 and it works really well. It does not work off the solar. It works off of a generator that we bring along anytime we're in hot weather. We actually will have it on the back on one of those little bumper mounts. And then we have a box to go over it so that people won't steal it. And we just bring that around with us whenever we need the AC. The AC is run to a separate power cord so we can plug it directly in. If we're at a campsite or anything that has electricity, we can just plug in the AC to that, and then everything else is no problem. It just runs off the solar. Just continuing on with cabinets over on this side, we got a nice mirror mounted right here so I can, yeah, that's for that. And then up here, this is our kitchen where we keep canned goods as well. We keep cups. We also have, this is an electric water boiler. These things are invaluable. It runs off of just normal 110 volt. It is 900 watts, so it's just under the inverter limit, but I can do about 2.5 cups of water, actually about 3 cups of water in about 4 minutes. And it is phenomenal. These you cannot beat. And I'll put a link to one of those down below because you definitely want one of those for your van. And we keep oatmeal and other things up there as well. This is our Renogy control panel for our solar, and it tells, like right now, I mean, we're kind of late in the day and we're under trees, we're only putting out 10 watts. We have 400 watts on the roof, but that's no big deal. It's also, it will not allow more power in if the battery is full, which as you can tell, it is completely full. So it's not going to allow anything more than what we're pulling. So right now, you can tell we're probably pulling about 10 or 11 watts in here, just as we are right now. And so it's only allowing that much in. This is the Xantrex battery monitor, and it is the king. So this is for our water pump, and these are for our overhead lights right here. And then we have our clothes. So this one is for towels, 100% towels. Then this one here is for my clothes, and that one is for her clothes, and we just share that way. And you know what? If you roll things up, you can get so much more in there than if you don't. Now up here for these cabinets, just for an idea how we did it, we use these gas pistons, and then we use these recessed hinges. And then you have to have these type of locks. On here we use doubles, and the reason we use doubles is because it's not enough to keep it from popping out when you're driving down the road. But that provides a very secure lock. It also is a soft open and a soft close. For lighting purposes, these are just little tiny 12 volt puck lights, and they are super bright. They work really well. They're LED, so they pull almost no power. We have 8 of these in our entire build. You can see them everywhere, and they are phenomenal. On this side over here, we have these little cubbies that we built. These are for socks, underwear, first aid kit, charge cables, that kind of stuff. And we just keep one on either side. Wife gets one, I get one, and those are perfect for just all your little tiny soft clothes that you need. Over here, there is a surge protector that is plugged in over on this wall over here, as well as a 12-volt USB charger for charging all your phones. So you can actually have all your phones sitting up over there on that little piece because it doesn't raise up and down. Just these two do. But this also gives you a nice little shelf to put things. And then we have a 12-volt fan. And this is the for the heater. This is the thermostat that we use for it. This right here is our Max Air fan, and this is for those not hot, not cold days, and you just want some ventilation. We've got just a piece of foam here with some Reflectix inside, and that helps keep this insulated as well, but the fan is here, and it's also thermostatically controlled. And we used to have 2 of them in a push-pull, or just both a pulled, whatever we wanted to do. But we ended up wanting that air conditioner just because some days it's just brutal. As you can see, there's plenty of room up here. I can get up, it's not a problem. Every morning is a great morning when you wake up in this wonderful bed. Just a little note on insulation and how we did our build. What we did was we first put some Dynamat down. Now, a lot of people are covering their entire vehicle in Dynamat, and that is the wrong way to do it because Dynamat tells you there is a diminishing return. You only need to cover 25% of the exposed metal area that is not supported. So we have a sheet of it. Every single place there's exposed metal, and it's about 25 to 35% of the size of that exposed area, and that is plenty. Next, we went with Reflectix. Reflectix goes on there. It's that metal foil bubble wrap everyone talks about. From there, we went with Thinsulate, and that is the Tesla insulation. It's made by 3M. It's this right here. It's hard to tell, but it's not like fiberglass insulation. It doesn't come off in your fingers. It's actually sewn to fabric. Kind of see it a little bit right there. But it stays together, and it's really, really thick. And so we have that, and you just spray glue onto the Reflectix, and then we covered it with the plywood. And this does a fantastic job. And then this is just filling in, and this is one of those details we just haven't finished yet. But this right here, this is also Thinsulate, and we just have it encapsulated in black, thick fabric, just so we can have that nice blackout. On the floor, we used, I think it's like 8-inch aluminum-backed foam contoured panel. I don't know how to describe it, but it's basically an 1/8-inch thick piece of foam with aluminum backing on it, and it's super sticky, and it comes in like a 1-foot wide roll. You're supposed to use it for like air conditioning ducts, but we line the entire floor with it, and then we put down plywood, and then we put down our flooring. This is my power panel for the lighting up front, the outdoor lighting. So basically the way it's done is I've got the driving lights, the big overhead bar light. Then this is the backup lights, and then a left and the right. These aren't currently used, but they will be used for future projects. But I also have them where you have to prime it before you can turn them on. So you can't just accidentally turn this on and blind somebody. You actually have to be in prime before you can turn that on. And I just did that as a safety precaution, just because you don't want to be on the road and blinding somebody. But it also has a cigarette lighter. It has just a 12-volt adapter and USB as well if you need it. We don't need it. We have that stuff everywhere. So part of our travel package that we do when we're cruising, you need to know where you're going to be, because the iPhone is great for maps, but if you don't have signal, then you don't have maps. That's the way that works, unfortunately. And this has definitely caused me some issues in the past, but this is just a magnet mount that up here, and then I can charge it right here. This is a GPS from Pioneer that we use, and then I also have a Garmin up here. Believe it or not, all 3 of them will tell me 3 different ways to go to get somewhere, but I usually try to find the one that makes the most sense, and then follow that one as best I can. But it is nice to have backup and redundant systems. For those of us that do not have the enhanced Sprinter package with the trip computer and all that stuff, I use a scan gauge, and the scan gauge will actually track your fuel economy far better than you can. It is a really good device. We've installed speakers in the back. These are 6.5-inch speakers for those little extra tunes along the road. And then on the back window, we've done the same thing with the Thinsulate and the black fabric with magnets, and it goes right over that, and it makes for a very nice and secure blacked out inside. I hope this answered all of your questions on my van build, and if you do have any other questions or comments, do feel free to put those in the comment section down below. I do try to read and respond to each and every one, even if it's just to say thanks. Also, remember to subscribe. I'm going to have lots of adventure videos coming out soon, and I want you to be a part of it. Also, you can follow me on all social medias at Scott Balcom, and I do have a Patreon if you want to support me that way. I greatly appreciate all my Patreon supporters. So as always, as I like to leave it, don't let your passions center around your life. Let your life center around your passions.